We'll get started. I called the Addison Public Library Board meeting to order today, Tuesday, January 18, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Can I get a roll call? Donna?
Teresa Cool.
Here.
Linda Durek.
Here.
Maria Episcopal.
Here.
Robert Lyons.
Here.
Judith Easton.
Here.
Matt Moretti.
Here.
Ruben Robles.
Here.
Excellent. Everyone's present and accounted for. I will say, as the library board president, I should have prefaced this at our meeting. I have determined that pursuant to Public Act 100-0640, Senate Bill 2135, that an in-person meeting is not practical at this time or prudent at this time because of the COVID-19 health emergency. The meeting will be conducted virtually via Zoom, and I will move on to approval of the agenda next, and then we'll move on to comments from the public. So I make a motion to approve the meeting agenda. Can I get a second?
So moved.
So we'll say moved by I'll say moved by Judith, second by Ruben. Donna, roll call.
Teresa Cool.
Yes.
Linda Durek.
Yes.
Maria Episcopal.
Yes.
Robert Lyons.
Yes.
Judith Easton.
Yes.
Matt Moretti.
Yes.
Ruben Robles.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Motion passes. All of our motions, because we're conducting it on Zoom, have to be done with a roll call vote. So next we'll move on to comments from the public. Thank you, Ms. Neff, for joining us at our board meeting. Did you have any comments that you would like to make?
Well, I got quite a bit of feedback from a lot of people in town questioning the lack of decorations at the holiday time in the library. And they wanted to know why. And, you know, the friends of the library had bought a Christmas tree. We paid for snowflakes. They were saying things like we could have a giving tree. There's nothing religious about candy canes and a Santa Claus. And it just, you know, we're diversified, but diversification means recognizing differences and accepting them. And someone wanted to know if there were complaints because you were closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I just kind of would like feedback from you to sort of set the record straight, so at least I have an answer for some of these people.
So thank you, Ms. Neff. I do appreciate your time and the questions that you have asked. I know that Mary, you did a good job by responding. From what I know, Ms. Neff, I don't know that we've received, correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, any comments or things related to us being closed related to Christmas. I will say, I know we haven't had decorations. We've tried to put up a tree and to honor, you know, different cultures and different religions. I understand that we do have a tree that does have, you know, ornaments. I know that sometimes requires a lot of time from our staff. And I think with this quarantine, with this COVID emergency, we have had not as many staff available to participate to help put in some of the decorations. And sometimes we look at, do we have enough coverage, you know, for our library, or do we need decorations? Does that make sense?
Well, coverage for staff or decorating?
Yes, for desks. So the coverage for a lot of our staff, for the ones that are employed at the library, are typically the ones that put in the time to help decorate the library.
But I think you're forgetting the fact that the friends of the library are volunteers and willing to do what the library can't. It's not all financial.
No,
And so
definitely.
had the word gone out that you needed help or you wanted to set up decorations, I mean, it's an American holiday. It's not necessarily Christian. And it just looked so forlorn with the village so decorated to the teeth. And it made a lot of people unhappy. Someone said that they're not going to come in and donate books anymore. They're disappointed in the whole idea. And so I'm accessible because I live in town. I've been here for 50 years and people know I'm involved, and that's where I got the feedback. So I just felt that I owed it to my friends and the friends of the library and the staff to let you know that it was a very unpopular decision. It's a public building and it's supported by taxes, and you put more input into naming the little bookmobile than you did asking people how they felt about decorations, and just letting you know that it was
No.
not a good thing.
No, and I appreciate you sharing that feedback and stuff. Mary,
I will
you-
say, we did have the giving tree that we have every year participating in the township holiday gift drive and distributing tags for that.
But it used to be the Christmas tree with the tags hanging on it like ornaments. And that was what someone said they were looking for. And what was on the wall wasn't quite the same feeling.
Well,
I'm just relaying the feedback
No,
I got.
I
I
understand
need
that
to.
stuff.
we
I
moved it to
understand.
the cafe because when we did the last renovation, our lobby is narrower now than it was in the past. And there just isn't room to put a tree up there and keep traffic flowing in and out the door. And into
It
the
could have
children's
been in
department.
the food area that's not used. I mean, it didn't have to even be such a big tree. And it could have been in the children's department, kind of where it was, where we set up the tables in front of the elevator. I think it's kind of, sorry, Mary, but I think that's kind of a lame excuse. I think there's room, and I think there have been volunteers. And I'm just telling you, people were very disappointed. And I feel I owe it to you to let you know, so maybe
Yeah.
changes can be made.
I
by next
appreciate your
holiday.
feedback. It's interesting that it came up this year because this isn't the first year that.
But last year doesn't count. I mean,
It's
really.
not even the second year. It's been
But
3 or
we
4
had,
years.
we paid for snowflakes. At least there were decorations. The friends.
That is
liked it.
true. That is, we did
And there's
seasonal
absolutely
winter decorations in the past several
nothing.
years, and we did not do that this year. That's.
And I
on me.
just, why is all I'm wondering. Why there's one little wreath on the outside wall. I'm sorry. I don't think that cuts it. And I'm just relaying the feedback I got and asking that maybe next holiday season rolls around, there'll be a change of attitude or opinion on your side so that maybe we can do something to make our public happy. Because it's a lot of people in town celebrate Christmas. Almost, I mean, it's an American holiday. You can't get a pair of shoes or go to the Jewel or get a haircut without seeing some Christmas type decorations, whether it's tinsel or a light, come on.
Which was part of our decision, recognizing the diversity of our community and the fact that everywhere you go, you're sort of inundated with this. We have lots of holiday programming. We have lots of holiday materials in our collection.
But that's inside. That's not visible for somebody that walks in the library to get a book.
Right. And if
And the
Christmas
first
is not a
record
holiday
is-
that you celebrate, we wanted it to be welcoming for everybody who comes in. So
I don't
was-
see how a Christmas tree or a candy cane or a Santa Claus is not welcoming. It's not turning anybody off. It's not denying what they celebrate. I mean, look around. Everybody puts something out for Christmas. It's not offending anybody.
You
It
don't
shouldn't.
know that.
Well, you shouldn't, because diversification means that you accept differences. And if it's different from what someone believes, then they should accept it. And it's the majority that celebrates Christmas. So I'm sorry, I just don't think that's a valid enough argument.
Well, I
Maybe
appreciate.
the
you making-
idea of having a winter theme with snowflakes.
I
and things like
guess,
that,
yeah.
I like that. So that way we're staying away from a tree or Santa or something.
There's
But
nothing
it's a
about
nice-
a candy cane or a,
Right. Well, I mean, just to keep it like super simple, I think I love the snowflakes and like a snowman or all
exactly. It's
related
a holiday.
winter.
We're looking for
So
holiday.
that way we're looking at like winter themed, which is nice and bright and cheery.
We're not
So that way anyone who comes in is, no, I don't think anyone's.
it's a
offended
winter
by it.
holiday. We're
So-
not talking about a nativity scene. We're not
Right, no,
talking
no,
about
nothing like
religious.
that, but even
Just
something that.
the
could-
holiday.
Right.
Miss, I will tell you that is an item that we are going to discuss, and it is on our agenda. So I just wanted you to be aware that that is a discussion item for this board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
I just had to let you know because my ears have been ringing with people upset. So I thought it's
No,
only
and-
fair.
I appreciate your feedback, and this is a discussion item actually under new business, and we will be discussing this.
Okay, thank you for listening. Sorry, I just got a little emotional there, but
No, it's okay. I understand. I appreciate your feedback.
oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming. So then we can move on to our financial report from our treasurer.
Yes, thank you. Revenue received in December was $34,735.86. Year-to-date revenue has been $5,684,195.53. The expenditures for December were $380,302.43. And we don't have a tabulation on the year-to-date expenditures, this being the 18th day of January. Disbursements, $176,953.56, and the December payroll of $214,318.28, for a grand total for December disbursements of $391,271.84, and the supporting documentation is attached to the report. Thank you.
I apologize. I'm not sure why the year-to-date expenditures isn't there, but I can give you that figure. At the end of December, it was $3,436,458.11.
Thank you, Mary.
Yep, it's on
do-
page 6.4 of your expense report.
And I do appreciate
you.
the nice, you can't see because of the screen, but the nice financial highlights as well that you were able to provide.
Yay, Brooke.
Yeah, it gives me a nice visual representation of how much we actually have spent and how much we have estimated. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it is helpful.
Does anyone have any questions related to any of the financial documents that are presented? No? Okay. Thank you, Rob. So next we'll move on to our consent agenda. So I make a motion to approve the consent agenda that consists of the meeting minutes and treasurer's report as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Robert. Donna, roll call?
Maria Sincool,
Yes.
Linda Durick,
Sorry, her audio gave out, but she said yes.
okay. Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Robert Lyons,
Yes.
Judith Easton,
Yes.
Matt Moretti,
Yes.
Reuben Robles.
Yes.
Motion passes. So next we'll move on to staff reports. Are there any updates, Mary, that you have to include in your staff, in your record report?
Just a few reminders. Next Monday, January 24th, is ILA's West Suburban Legislative Meetup. If any of you are available at 10 o'clock in the morning, this is a great chance to meet the legislators from our area, both at the state and federal level, and hear updates about pending legislation that affects libraries. It is virtual this year, so it's not quite the in-person meet and greet that they traditionally have, but it's still a good opportunity. I think I emailed this to all of you in December, but if you need information on how to register, let me know. Next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, on January 26th, is the Shape of Addison Town Hall meeting. Maria will be presenting on behalf of the library, but we encourage all of you to attend either in person or it will also be streamed live on ACTV and YouTube, I believe. So you can choose whether to come in person or view it from home, but I encourage you to, if you're available, do one or the other. And then last, the next intergovernmental meeting is on February 10th at 7 p.m. and it's hosted by the Fire Protection District this time. So I assume it will be at their Addison Road station, but I will verify that as soon as they send the agenda out. And then if anybody has questions on our reports, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, the time of Shape of Addison.
7 p.m.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep. I will be-
Thank you, Mary. I read the report about individuals participating in vaccinations. I appreciate that people were able to get, boosters as well as vaccinations for the first time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Are there any comments related to some of the information presented in the staff report? I also comment for myself. I didn't realize, Mary, that we had, is it 4 positions? 4 vacant positions that we're hiring for?
Yes. Some of them are positions that had been left vacant last year when we weren't busy, sort of waiting for the pandemic to end and things to pick up again. And now we're moving toward filling those. But yep, we're busy again with our HR coordinator and head of children's. We're interviewing this afternoon for their position.
Mhm.
And I know she's checking references on someone, so hopefully we'll get that filled quickly.
Yeah, just checking on my understanding of a term of art, weeding of something, a library term, what does that mean?
It means withdrawing a book or an item from our collection. As long as we continue to buy new things, we also need to take things out to make room on our shelves for all of the new things that come in. And so we look at the condition of our materials. If something's in disrepair, we might weed it for that reason. We also check the number of times it's been checked out and how recently it's been checked out. If something's been sitting on the shelf for 3 or 4 years and nobody has touched it, then we might take it out so that we can make room for more popular items and new items coming in. So our collection development team has formulas they use on how to identify. Every item we have has to earn its place on the shelf by being in demand by the public. And once we withdraw something, generally we can still find it at another library. So we rely heavily on interlibrary loan because we do consider ourselves to be a popular materials collection. So we might not keep every book ever published by a particular author. But if somebody wants those backlist items, we will do what we can to get them.
Great, thank you for that explanation.
Sure.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any other questions? Sorry, Judith, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. How far along are you with the video?
We have
about
not
the-
begun. The first meeting
Oh.
is later this week on the 20th.
Okay, I think that's really exciting. And I think that's a wonderful way to market the library. I think people are really drawn to the television set. And I look forward to hearing how that's going and seeing the final product, and hope that it can be not only on ACTV, but other outlets as well.
Right. This will, just to be clear, not be specifically for the library, it's for the community. So the village will be
community.
represented, the school districts, all our intergovernmental partners will work
Great.
together on creating something. But I think we saw the video that the Robert Woods Johnson Foundation created when we won the Culture of Health Prize. And we're so impressed with that we realized it's a great medium to try to tell our story and showcase how many wonderful things there are in this community. So we're glad to be part of it. Right now it's just an idea, and we'll have our first meeting to start talking about how to make it happen later this week.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. You said there are a lot of times I think of a question while I'm reading the info and it's like the ability to post notes in the board doc program. Is this something Abine is able to do?
We use a product called Board Docs LT or Lite, and it is not possible. If we get the more expensive version of Board Docs, which I believe District 4 uses, that is a feature that's offered. So I can get pricing on that if the board is interested and get more information on what else is offered in the fuller, more expensive version, and we can consider that.
Okay. I appreciate. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But I appreciate Linda's suggestion because I do agree. Sometimes you read things right as they are on the board docs, and like you want to make comments right as you're reading it, so that you could get so that one, it's like you don't lose your train of thought when you have a comment or a question related to what's on the agenda. Otherwise, if not, is there a program that's compatible or similar? Was another question.
I don't know, but we can certainly look into it.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions related to the staff reports? No? Next, we'll move on to monthly statistics then. Again, I appreciate the visual information because I, you know, having to read a lot of the documents too. This actually presents it in a way that, you know, I want to say that I could understand it, but it's better for me. But are there any questions related to the monthly statistics? No? Seeing as there aren't any questions, then we'll move on to our new business items that we have a list for. So the first business item that we're going to talk about is the building renovation and expansion plan. So
And we have Dan and Tiffany from Product Architecture with us this evening, and they are going to present what we've been working on. I just have to.
You give them co-host capabilities so that they could share their screen?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Can everybody see the screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do this evening is we have a series of plans and renderings that kind of go through the different schemes that we've developed over the last couple of months with Mary and Brooke and the staff. We've met with the staff managers or the managers of each of the departments a couple of times over the course of this design. And obviously, we all know this is kind of a testing of the envelope and cost of the project. So once this is approved or once this moves forward or when it moves forward, there's lots of more work to be done. But we worked really hard with the Mary and the library and the staff to kind of go over and make sure that everything that they have as wants inside of the new building is represented in these drawings. So and then once we had the plans developed, we actually forwarded them to FQC. And they gave us some cost budget estimates, which were included as part of your board package. And we will also show you what those mean in terms of plans and where we plan on spending those dollars that are represented in the drawings. So first, Tiffany's going to go through the existing plans and kind of go through some of the issues that came up as we were working through the design. And then we'll look at the new plans and then again show you some three-dimensional images of what we think the potential of the project could be.
Okay, so this is your existing plan. And one of the main issues that was brought up is how you enter the building, that the lobby feels small. But the lobby feels small. Right in front of the circ desk is tight. And then you're kind of immediately drawn up the stair. And it doesn't feel like there's a lobby like there is at some other libraries. Your ability to display new materials is very limited. And then access to the cafe is kind of this pinch point. And then when you return your books in the sorter, it's hard to find unless you've already been there many times. The cafe is a little bit underutilized. Part of that is because of how it's staffed, and part of it is because it's a little difficult to find. I'm going to just say something in general about all of your staff spaces. There were issues with all of them throughout the library. Sometimes they're too small and cramped. Sometimes they have a mixture of different departments in them, and the wrong departments are together. So that's fixed overall in the new plans. Also in the lobby, or going over to the meeting room, because of its shape, it's not used to its maximum potential. That sort of triangle sticking out isn't really able to be used efficiently. And then there's a sort of nook in the back that's hard to use too. So we looked at that. We did find through our discussions that the youth department overall is fairly successful. The collection size is right, the shelving's right, the amount of study rooms are good. The staffing was kind of mixture of staff was one of the major problems. The youth program room is the right size. One of the main things that people wanted to see was some outdoor programming space that youth could use and that could be used potentially by adults or off of a cafe or something like that. So that was something that was missing. And then having the book drop, the drive up book drop be tied to your sorter was something that was discussed. Okay. The second floor, it's kind of a layout with book stacks all in the middle and then seating around the perimeter, which leads to a lot of wayfinding problems. And then there are a lot of noise issues with the teens next to the adult computers, kind of with the teens in general, that they're towards the back of the space. And there's noise in the wrong spots. So you don't have good quiet areas. Your existing quiet room isn't really used that way because you can hear sounds from below and it's sort of an odd shape. There was a request for more study rooms, which we fit in the new plan. Again, some staffing issues. That meeting room that used to be a quiet study with a fireplace, we understood to be fairly successfully used. It just doesn't need a fireplace. So, and then the creative studio should be a lot bigger than what it is for how it's being used. So that was something we looked at. Okay. And then similar to lower levels, just people in the wrong spots. And more people actually need to be upstairs than what's up there now. They're kind of scattered on the lower levels. So we looked at completely rearranging this floor in order to fit the people who need to be together up there. Except for the boardroom, that's staying as is. And you'll see Dan's circling that open to below space. In order to fit everything up there, we filled that in with a floor, and that's over that meeting room on the second floor. So that's included in the cost estimate to just add more square footage up there. Okay. So for the new plan, we moved the stair to where the cafe is, and then we also moved the entry. So when you walk into the building, you walk in the two front doors, go to the side, you'll see a stair, and then right when you walk in, you'll also see where you can return your books to that sorter there, and then you can see there's also a conveyor that goes to the exterior book drop off of that. So that would now be tied together. The self-checks would be right there. And then the desk is smaller than what it is now because a lot of the stuff that they're doing out in the open can be done in the workroom. So you're not seeing sort of all that stuff behind the desk that you see now. Then in the lobby, all those little kind of tripod shapes, those are representing new materials that you can display in the lobby. And then we shortened the bathrooms and kind of changed the access to them to give you a wider hallway, and then put the cafe where the meeting room is now. So that would be kind of feel like a bigger lobby than what you have now. And then it would lead you to a meeting room that's about the same square footage as what you have now, but can be way more efficiently used. And then right there, you'll see a door with access to outdoor programming space. So that can be accessed from the lobby and from the youth department. So it's a pretty large programming space that would be screened from the street and protected from the streets so little kids can't go running. We'll need to figure out exactly how that's done, but that's the idea. And then inside the youth department, we just kind of rearranged it. So the little kids play area is right behind the desk. The desk is centered, so it can see everything in the department. So where dance circling would be the youngest kids. Their picture books are to the left. So those would be low stacks next to the patio. And then that would, other seating right there in the middle is for the older kids in the youth department. And above that would be the AV collection. So you have a nice view to the patio. And then to the right is the taller book stacks with the fiction and nonfiction. All of the staff entry and maintenance area stays as is, and then dance circling the relocated youth offices with 2 study rooms. We have some French storage there, and then youth storage there too. Yep. And then the second floor, that is where we bumped out quite a bit more. So this red dashed line is showing you the addition. So it's mostly it's a meeting room addition and then a second floor addition. You can see we kept the collection size the same as what it is today, and the teen collection is a little bit larger. So when you come up the stair in that corner, there's opportunity for new books right when you come up. To your right there with the orange is the creative studio. There's a sound editing suite and an office associated with it. All those magenta spaces are study rooms. We did increase by 5 from what you have today. Dan's pointing, the computers are below that. So we're keeping them well away from the teens. They have their own service desk as they do today. So it's definitely an area that would be easy to find and by itself. And then all the copy would happen there, copy print. The adult services area is in front of the elevator, and you can see it from the stair with the restrooms behind it. And then also when you get off the elevator and stair, you can head right to teens in the yellow. So the whole seating area is right there. And then the stacks are open to the adults. So the stacks are kind of what connects the adult to the teen with no walls. Then that meeting room in the light green stays as it is today, but we take out the fireplace. And then Dan was pointing to a patio, which I think we'll talk more about when you see the renderings. There is potential for a patio over the top of the meeting room or programming space up there for teens and adults. And then we kept kind of the perimeter seating like you have today for the quieter seating. And the idea is that maybe the louder seating would be in the middle near the desk. And then to the right, we fixed sort of the office situation up there, gave everybody a private office, gave them their own small meeting space. But not a lot of architectural changes there, but a better layout for who needs to be in that space. This one is just showing you what it would look like if we build out over the top of the meeting room. It just makes the teen area larger, and that's included in your cost estimate, and you'll see in the renderings what that means. And then the level 3, like I said, we filled in that part of the floor plan and moved everybody where they need to be in order to get the right people together, along with building storage up there. The only thing that's not changing is the boardroom and the bathrooms. Everything else is getting quite a bit of change. So the admin area is right when the public would come up. The staff lounge is moved in order to make all of this work. And then materials management is down below where it is today, but reorganized. Okay.
Are there any questions that you guys have before we move on to the renderings? Oop. Good.
Elevators are all staying the same, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
It was funny, as part of the study that we did for the last couple of months, we figured out that we could move either the bathrooms, or we could move the elevator, or we could move the stairs in terms of cost, and that we couldn't move all 3. So we really decided like where we got the most bang for the buck. And we thought that getting the elevator out of that pinch point, especially in the lobby, And actually, when you come up to the front of the building, you'll see the stair. It's kind of beautiful. So, and we'll show you that in the renderings. But we did figure out that if we started moving too many things, it got really expensive and weren't able to expand the building as much as we wanted. So we're going to jump into some renderings real quick. And really, again, what we're kind of showing you is different ways that we think the aesthetic of the building expansion can kind of take on. So there's really two main ideas that happen in your existing building, and we're showing these overhead views as they kind of illustrate what we're talking about. There really is a glass cube that's kind of rotated inside of a masonry cube. And then the third floor is kind of a different animal altogether. It's kind of set back from the edge and kind of goes away as a beige. So we really took a hard look at the different ways that the glass and masonry kind of act together. And we kind of came up with one scheme that is majoritively more glass. And then we came up with one scheme that's kind of a mixture of the glass and the masonry. And we're just going to present those to you tonight and see what you think. As we go through these two, we'll show you the differences in the alternates. There was some additional cost information about a canopy. And as Tiffany was talking about, building over when we expanded that team. So we'll make sure that you guys are aware when we're looking at that also. So this is the first scheme that we're looking at. So the expansion happens right here along this line. So this is that expansion up on the second level that Tiffany was talking about with the extra book room and also the teens. And then below here is the expansion of the meeting room. We really like these kind of big pieces of glass that are existing on your building. And so we kind of made those same moves, which we have clunks of glass here, and then a second floor clunk here. And then we actually extended the masonry base out further for the meeting room, and then added some glass in the front so people could see activity if they wanted to, both day and night as they went past the meeting room. If there was a program happening in there, it's great marketing. And then we could close the shades if we needed it for a meeting. You can see the start of the stair over here. So this used to be that cafe space and quiet study above. It really is going to be active of people kind of coming into the building, either going upstairs or entering into that larger lobby that we've made. This is a really prominent view of the building as we're driving in a car. So we actually looked at, so again, this is that meeting room clunk with glass at the end. So you are seeing into the activity of the building. And then we created this really beautiful, simply detailed glass kind of box that mimics the other glass that's on the building. We added some sunshades just with a large glass box. Actually, we're always worried about sun exposure and kind of heat gain in the building unnecessarily. So we want to make sure we're being sustainable also. And then excitingly, this is the other view, and we're kind of seeing below. So the second floor addition is actually raised up off the ground. And then this is that exterior patio space that Tiffany was describing earlier. It is protected for about 60–70% of the area. And then the other 30% is out in the sunlight. So if we want to have outdoor programs that fully take advantage of the sun, they can come out from underneath the building. If there's inclement weather or it's just in the middle of the hot summer, the building will actually provide passive shading and really cut down on the amount of heat that comes into the building. So this is kind of the most simple base model. And this represents the $12.1 million addition in schemes that was presented in your board package. The second scheme that we looked at was adding a canopy over the top. I'm going to actually change views of this one. It helps out a lot. So this one, we actually have the same glass bar that is up on the second floor and doing that same language as the existing building with the same sort of more solid block on the base as the meeting room. But what we've done is actually extended a really beautiful canopy out along that whole edge to really protect from that sun and kind of create this kind of enclosed open space underneath it. So the building itself is in the shape of an L, but the canopy actually cuts across that L and really creates kind of a diverse two-story outdoor space that both the meeting room and the people that are coming off the cafe and the youth can all use throughout the year. So we really looked at kind of, again, looking at those kind of triangular shapes that the building already possesses, and then kind of moving towards lightening up with a more natural expression of the wood canopy. And this is that third scheme. We're still in the glass schemes here. And what this does, this scheme actually is where we showed building up that teen space on the second floor. So we kept the glass bar and then extended the teen out all the way to the edge of the meeting room. And then we do not have the canopy in this scheme also. So on this side, you're seeing that 2-story, teens on top, mini room on the bottom. And then this is that glass book box where you'll see library functions happening throughout the day. The second set of schemes that we were going to talk about is the one where we kind of was more of a mixture of masonry and glass. So the fronts of them don't look all that different, but here you start to see that we have that outdoor space above where we had that large canopy before. We really have a smaller canopy for that outdoor space that's off of teen and can be used by adult also. And then on that back side, we really did look at how the building kind of the ins and outs and kind of that triangular twisted cube that is present on that existing building. We really worked with creating those different bay window ideas for the second level expression of the building. So as you're coming across this floor plate, you'll actually have all these sort of pieces where you can get off of the main path of the library and kind of have these areas of respite. And then again, this is that outdoor seating area that's on top of the second floor. And then this is that same expression. If we build up the entire space, the second floor all the way out to the edge of the meeting room for a full height 2-story addition. And on the back side, you see that second story addition kind of expressing itself in that same manner with a combination of limestone, glass, and brick. So again, each of the schemes has this outdoor patio on the bottom. We have a heavy vegetation and more than likely some sort of side of fence to make sure that kids aren't running out of the youth and then into the busy road. We do have quite a buffer in terms of the sidewalk and the street, but we want to make sure that we're being safe. That patio space is, again, probably 60 to 70% covered, and then about 30% open with more grass space that's open. So in the summer, you can decide if you want to sit in the sun or sit under the shade of the building. And then the meeting room has lots of glass, so people can see inside of it from both ends for activities, and or we could use shading devices to make sure that it can be, obviously you don't want to be on display all the time. And then the second floor is really different treatments of that book box, that expansion on the second floor that we've been working with and you saw on plan. Questions? Comments?
Beautiful.
I think I have a couple of things I'd like to clarify. This is Rob Lyons. My first question is going to be, is there any loss of natural light? But I think the answer here is pretty obvious. It looks like it appears that natural light is being added. Is that right?
We have some shading down on the youth area. And right now those are the offices, but we are going to make those windows larger. So they will get some ambient light from the west side. But on the second floor, for sure, it's much more light filled.
My second question, will there be more or less meeting space?
More. Yeah, more. So we have 5 more study rooms than what you have now.
Okay, good. And have you thought about the use of any natural materials, incorporating that into the glass and stone, glass and brick?
The one thing on that canopy that we showed you, we're interested in using a timber idea so that the bottom side of it is expression of wood. I'm trying to get up there. Sorry, I'm going slow. So we talked about a wood ceiling up on the second floor here. And we thought that might be kind of beautiful. We try to minimize the amount of natural like woods on the exterior of the building just for maintenance.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of our designs include lots of natural material on the inside. And once we get into the inside of the building, we'll show you lots of options for that. So yes, we love the use of natural materials, but on the outside, we try to make sure that we don't kind of create maintenance problems for the library.
Yeah. Okay, well, those are my 3 concerns. So it looks like they've been addressed. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Other questions or comments?
I'm just gonna say, I'm so excited. I think they all look so great. I'm
Thank you.
so excited. It looks great. It's gonna be a hard decision.
It's been extremely fun. The planning process was really exciting, and I think we really took a long time to get everything in the right place. And then studying next year the building was kind of obviously the images that came out we were really happy with, and it's been a really exciting process the whole way through.
Good.
One of the questions that was being asked, is the brick still available for the addition?
Oh, we haven't checked that. We have a brick specialist. He's awesome. He actually sometimes shows us where to buy bricks that aren't even ones that he represents, and he helps us. We'll send them out and make sure that we can find them.
Was that your question, Linda?
Yeah, we haven't had a problem matching other buildings that are older than yours. So I'm sure we'll have lots of mock-ups to make sure.
Linda, do you remember choosing the brick for this building? We looked at so many bricks.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
Kindly.
I think you drove into the city to look at a building that was built
Yes,
with this
I-
brick.
Belmont, I think it was Belmont or Diversity. I've gone by it a couple times.
Yeah,
And then a church somewhere out west.
Oh, nice.
it was hard to look at one brick and envision what a building would look like.
That is totally true.
So
That's right.
there are 3 options here. Is that the basic?
Well, we kind of have a glass box option and then a glass and brick box option. And then the meeting rooms kind of act the same in all the schemes. And then the canopy, I think, kind of acts differently. And then the sort of building out of the second floor. So it's almost 4 schemes, but it is 3, I would say 3 in general.
So
We're hoping it
show
isn't too
the
confusing.
ones that included the building out of the second floor. So there were 2 options for that? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was one option with the glass box and kind of this taller box on the corner. And then the second option was with, it's kind of a more masonry expression where the brick kind of wraps around the entire top and there's not such a difference between the glass box and the brick over the mini room. And I know Tiffany and I talked about this in the beginning too, but there is a ton of work and a ton of renderings to do after this also. So we're kind of looking for, kind of direction. I know that's not really useful, but we will, we have lots of images to review with you guys over the next, 8 to 10 months. So there will be time to look at it again.
Do you generally like the masonry and glass combination idea or the ones that show more glass? And do you generally like the idea of a upper level roof deck off the teen area or expanding the interior of teen services and giving them a bigger footprint inside?
Kind of like that, more of the outside for the teens, because I feel like they like to kind of congregate outside more. And it's, I don't know, the 1B, that's what we're looking at now. It's just so pretty. I kind of like that the best personally. I love them all, but like my eyes keep going to that. I love like the triangular shapes that are here. I like that there's so much outdoor area with shade, without shade. I don't know, there's something about this. It's just so cool to be able to have all this outside space at a library, because you just always feel like it's just such an enclosed space. So I love the outside. I mean, spring, fall, even today would be a good day to go out. It wasn't that bad outside. So, put on a little coat. You could sit out there for that. I personally like that idea.
I do as well. Sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
I like it as well. My only concern is Mary, I think, because I was employed in the building and we had a leak with the glass. That would be my only concern. When we had the leak coming from when the rain was horrible. We actually had where we have the overhang in the children's apartment leak water.
You guys have kind of a wacky curtain wall system, and I think we would stay away from that. I think we try to use a more standard system and then work from there. I'm going to plug my laptop in real quick. Tiffany, if you could take over for a second.
Yeah. There have been some issues with the sort of mullions, is that the right term
Yeah.
for them, in our curtain wall glass. But I think that was, we've addressed it for the most part. And it was inherent in the system that we use, not, I don't know that it would always be a problem in buildings that have that kind of glass.
Yeah, no, we've never had that problem in any building we've done. So I think it's that system in particular that's a problem.
I think it has to do with the way yours was designed to go in and out a little bit for that texture on the glass.
Yes.
We would try to stay away from that.
Now, in the 1B rendition here, there are no trees in the parkway or otherwise. I don't remember if there are trees there. Would those be coming down or?
We just
what?
wanted to be able to show the building. When we kept rendering it with the building in front, you just couldn't see anything. So we took them out just for artistic reasons. How's that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I'm just wondering how that would change the look or the effect, or provide or not provide any shade.
It actually provides additional shade, but I think if I go to, let's see. The trees are on the outside of the parkway, so we would keep them all actually. And I
Yeah.
think what we would do is really just have a beautiful texture for that dappled light that could come across in the west in the afternoon sun.
Uh-huh.
So I think you'll have opportunities for sunlight to get all the way through, as you can see here. But I do think, actually this is Eastern sun in the morning, but I do think that this will be an opportunity for a kind of a more beautiful, softer dappled light.
Yeah, yeah. I just hate to lose any big trees at the same time. That will kind of change the look of the building. You know, I'm just trying to picture how it will look.
Yeah, we can, and we'll show you the renderings with those back and forth. The one idea that we actually liked was that the corner here, if you guys can see it, I'm going to increase this one real quick. Ooh, delete those. This corner is not blocked by the trees that are sort of on this kind of cool curve. So that really prominent corner of the meeting room and that teen area and that sort of outdoor deck actually is pretty open. It is not blocked by the trees, and that's why we kept that. And then we kind of cut that canopy roof back here to kind of fit in that profile, those existing edges of the trees that are here. So we really kept our distance to make sure that we both, like you were saying, were able to take advantage of that skylight or that sunlight, but also to kind of fill in that corner here on the corner and make for kind of a strong presence as you drive past.
Yeah. My only concern about sunlight, though, is no matter what you try to do with it, I think of the Thompson building downtown. I've been in there so many times, and it's in some of the offices, the heat is just unbearable in the summertime. And that's been hard to address.
Yeah, there's two things on that. One is I think the passive shading devices on both schemes, I think will help out a bunch, and then the canopy helps out a ton.
Yeah.
And then glass technology itself has increased drastically in the last, since the Thompson Center was built.
Yeah.
That glass was pretty underperforming, which it was at the time. I think it was, it is what it is for its built. But I think glass now has a much more UV protection that can help in heat inside of the building.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Ruben, how do you feel about the outdoor area as you come around the curve of Kennedy Drive, seeing that now? Does it seem a little safer than what you first envisioned?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, like I said last time, I just seen so much happen there. I'm sorry I blurted out last time. I was pretty
okay.
concerned. So yeah,
Perspective is helpful.
yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Actually, almost wish that they could stack all these buildings on top of each other. It looks so good.
Yeah.
But I know that'd probably be more, right? It'd cost a lot more. But
No.
This is probably almost the view from your front door, right?
pretty much.
Awesome.
Can we put outdoor fire pits for the winter time?
Yeah, right. Nice.
We were actually at a project today that we had a fireplace, a two-sided fireplace that we put in, and it was really kind of pretty.
The Prospect Heights Library has a fireplace,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were there today. We were just seeing how Alex was doing.
Oh, nice.
Tiffany spent the afternoon working in front of the fireplace.
Yeah, I did.
She was the most relaxed out of all of us.
So we could get rid of our interior fireplace and put one outside.
Right.
I
There you go.
love that idea.
Choose.
Yeah, I regret losing the fireplace. I know a lot of people liked going up to that room and sitting there looking in at the fireplace. If we could put one outside, I remember seeing pictures of libraries with fireplaces outside. I don't remember which ones they were, but I like that idea.
Yeah, it's really nice. And not to beat a horse, but outdoor space, I think, especially during and the pandemic, has become like really extremely valuable. I would,
Yes.
and Tiffany, you can, I don't know, concur, but a lot of our projects are really looking to expand their programming and just their seating and their library experience outdoors, for people's comfort. So I think this is an incredible idea that you guys have, to really activate that space outside that you have and make it part of that library experience, I think is really incredible.
Good.
Mary and Brock, what are your thoughts on this, since you guys are the ones who will be there more than us?
I really like this one we're looking at, 1B right now as well. We do have some concerns about how teens would behave on an upper roof deck. If there are a lot of kids outside down below, are they going to be chucking things over the wall or just shouting up and down to each other? But
No doubt.
we do know, at least during the after school hours, we would probably have to have one staff member dedicated to be in that outdoor upper level area, sort of monitoring. So there becomes some staffing concerns about how many points we can cover and what we do after school, but I think we can address those. A lot of the staff really like this idea, but it's hard to, when we're spending all of this money, one of the big issues we want to be able to tell the community is we've heard you, we understand that the teens in the library after school are an issue and we're trying to address this and make it better. So there's some concern that this might not make it better. But I think as a staff, we just have to commit to making sure that it does and not letting it become a problem area. I don't know. What do you think, Brooke?
I have discovered that I always like the most expensive option when I look at anything. Yeah, I really like this one. The 1B really makes me want to go into the building and see more. I love the idea of driving past and seeing people moving in the building, on the second floor, walking back and forth or being outside. And whenever when you go to a building and you can see movement inside, it's immediately more inviting than when you can't tell what's going on in a place, then there's like some hesitancy or it doesn't feel as inviting. So I do really, really like that. I've had a lot of input though, so I'm very interested in hearing everybody else's. I voice a lot of opinions at our meetings about my favorite. So I think it's great. I think it's really trying to figure out if we would rather have more outdoor space upstairs or more interior space. And that's a hard question. Because I don't want to come back in 5 years and be like, oh, we want to enclose the second floor patio. Like there, so I think pressure to make the best decision for our community.
I almost feel like having more outdoor space for the teens is a better option. And I don't know if it's because, they are inside all day and our rooms are not that huge, especially right now with having to social distance. You realize how small the classrooms actually are. So I almost feel like if they were outside more, it would help them. And I think it would help people who are inside trying to be quiet, because if you're outside, you're going to have traffic noise and things. So if you're really looking for the quiet, the inside would be a better place. Maria, Ruben, you guys are in schools with me too. What do you think?
I agree with the same reason the last comment that you had made. I definitely feel like giving them the outdoor option, not that the footprint isn't important inside the library, but I do think if you have them outside, you know, they may, whoever you need to be loud, may be outside a little bit more, you know, not necessarily within the context of the building while everyone is still there. So it gives them an option.
I have a question. Can you hear? No, right? You can't hear me.
I can hear you. No, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So what is the square footage of that outdoor area about on the second floor?
About 1,000 square feet.
1,000 square
950.
feet. I have a few, I love the way it looks and I love the outdoor space too. But my concern is that those teens, that noise level is going to even hit people before they even walk in the building. You know what I mean? That them congregating out there is not going to be a good thing for the community as they approach the building. That you will hear that what they are complaining about now.
Maybe some of those concerns could be addressed by limiting the number of people that could be out there one time.
Mhm,
Or consider that a quiet area too.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I love the way it looks. It's spectacular. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
It's such a I mean, it's so different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really transforms the building.
And one more question, is that glass green also, or is it not? Is it?
We don't know entirely yet what color we're going to make the glass. It will work with your building and you'll be fully aware by the end of it. Is that fair?
Yes,
Sure.
sure.
We haven't just, we start getting so far, and these look so real, and we start getting so far into it, and we're like, oosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful work. Really
Thank you. It's been a blast.
good. Good.
I think good stuff always comes out of fun. You're having
There you go. Good attitude.
Is there other questions we can answer, or do you want to have any questions about the budget? I know Jack's not here, but we're pretty versed in the different ideas, I guess. So the base project was about $12.15 million. The canopy is around $900,000. That puts us right around $13 million. And then if we wanted to add that clunk over the second floor for the team, that was about an additional $550,000. So I think the real idea is that all of them are affordable for the sort of budget that Mary and Brooke have been providing us. There is some savings for not doing the canopy, obviously. And those are discussions that you guys can have. We think it is functional also, though. We think it does perform a really beautiful passive sort of shading on the building, which we think can't be overlooked.
Yeah.
Good. Mary, is there anything else you want us to hit on or go over?
You're muted.
Yes, I was gonna say, Mary, you're trying to talk. You're mute.
Sorry. Now I just want to check, Matt, do you have anything that you like or don't like or have questions about?
1B seems to be the the favorite of this
You like 1B?
entire presentation.
And I agree. I like 1B as well.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite as well.
I think the design team's from the same site. Notice we left it up there the whole time.
Look at the picture. You like what you see.
Correct. Those are us.
That's funny.
So
Okay,
I
well-
think next steps will, hopefully tonight we can get you to agree to a ballpark budget and not to exceed amount. And then we need to start talking to the village and make sure they're on board since they own our building. And we can share with them what we're hoping to do and show them that we can afford to do it. And I think we'll be good, but we'll need to start having those conversations before we get too much further.
Awesome.
So if you're all in agreement with this direction tonight, then I will work on getting those meetings set up with Joe Maranovich, the village manager, in the near future.
Fantastic.
It seems to me I read somewhere in our packet tonight that all of the greenery is done by the village. Is that correct?
In terms of maintaining the landscaping,
Landscaping, but from beginning through maintenance, or is that not correct?
not quite correct. They mow the grass. We don't mow grass and we don't plow snow in the parking lot. We shovel the sidewalks and we do the landscaping ourselves in terms of flower beds and plantings and things. Greg
Okay,
Chakowski from our
okay.
maintenance staff coordinates that.
I see. And trees?
We haven't really done much with trees since we moved to the building. We did replace one and worked with the village and their tree program and their arborist to do that. I think we paid for a portion of it. The village paid for a portion of it and the village arborist oversaw the planting of that tree, but they own the building and the trees. We haven't done much with maintaining the trees that I'm aware of. They might have trimmed some that I'm not aware of. We, as a library staff, have not.
Okay. So any trees that and bushes and flowers that we would want planted, would that go through the village in terms of permission, or we could just do it?
As part of this project, I think everything should be presented to them for approval.
Yes.
But
yes.
generally, if we wanted to just put in some shrubbery or plant a new tree, not related to a major expansion like this, we would not typically need to seek their permission.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Mary.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for coming to present to us. We appreciate the time that you've taken to walk us through.
Thank you so much. For a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
And Mary and Brooke, I'll forward this to you right now, the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Would you be able to share it with us, Mary?
Yes, I can do that.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Tiffany.
Dan.
Thank you, guys.
So much.
So that puts us on to our first action item. Based off the presentation and some of the feedback that I heard related to some of what was presented, I do make a motion to approve a not to exceed amount of $13,200,000 for the proposed renovation and expansion of the library building.
Second.
Second by Episcopal. Discussion. So Mary, that was an approximate because I read in the notes as far as how much money we actually have available. When you take into account all the other things that the money is earmarked for maintenance.
Yeah, I think having that plan that FQC developed for us in 2019 gives me peace of mind to know that we will still have enough funds in reserve to cover future maintenance needs. And the amount you've specified should be leave us in good shape for that.
Fantastic.
A friendly amendment to the motion, perhaps. If we have $13,205,000 and the do not exceed is set at that, that doesn't give us much wiggle room. So maybe we want to make the do not exceed maybe 13,100,000. I mean, I think the B was 13,000,001.
Yes, I made the 13,200,000.
Yeah,
So I went a little bit over just to account for in case the 13,126,100. Is that what you're asking, Robert?
yeah.
Did you
I
think
mean,
it
if we
needed to be
need
less?
to add to it, we've got 16 million-ish otherwise that we could tap some of that, but I just like to try to be conservative with other people's money.
Because he said 13,550,000.
Is
Was
that
it
what you're saying?
550? I don't remember. I thought the slide showed less.
13,100,000, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
what I was thinking.
13,100.
Yeah.
Correct. And I made the.
God, I'm hearing things.
You're okay, Judith. I made the proposal for 13,200,000.
Well, that's the good news, right? Okay, good.
Yes, so I made it for a little bit over. It doesn't mean that we will get to that point, because it sounds like, remind me, Mary, the roof that we chose, is that impact, since we're doing the overhang, right, it's 13,126,100.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
Sorry, my comment is because the version that we chose, the scheme, right, with the overhang roof, that was the 13,126,100.
Yes.
Correct. So
Yes.
I made I said 13,200,000 to accommodate any wiggle room, which I don't know that I foresee, but because it seems like they've planned everything out to what we would need. So are you saying it should be less, Robert?
Well, I'm thinking if it's less, they can come back to us if we've got any ups or changes or additions, or maybe they figured low. I'm just want to make sure they sharpen their pencils as much as they can. And if they come to us and say, hey, we're going to be $50,000 short, well then, we can address that. I don't want to do it on the cheap, but at the same time, I just want to be cautious.
We will still have bids to approve too with pricing. So there is an opportunity to keep going. This is to keep evaluating how much we're spending. Mary and I aren't going to take a check for $13 million and just go crazy. There are more approvals that you will have to make.
Yeah.
Good.
For those of you that haven't been through a building project before.
Since
Right.
Rob is the treasurer and
Mhm.
the one that's kind of responsible for our money, I'd kind of like to take his recommendation and amend
So,
the motion.
Robert, so then amending the motion to represent 13,100,000.
100,000.
Okay.
We're not locked into that amount, but we're keeping it conservative now.
That makes sense.
And I have one other quick question. What
Yeah,
did our
Linda's
original
got it.
building cost when we built it? Mary,
What was the question?
how much did the building cost originally?
I don't have that number in my head anymore, but I will get it for you tonight
I
and
just was curious.
share it with all of you.
Yeah, thank you. Because it's like right here, right? In this amount, or was it
Yeah.
like,
It is.
It's unbelievable.
We built at the right time, the first part.
Yes, right.
So Mayor, remind me, I could amend this, right? So remake the motion with the amendment.
Mhm.
So I make a motion to approve the not to exceed amount of 13,100,000 with the proposed amendment. For the proposed renovation and expansion of the library building. That's not a terribly helpful, my motion.
I'd second that.
Second by Robert. With that proposed amendment, is everyone ready to vote? Yep. Okay, roll call, Donna.
Maria Sinclair,
Yes.
Linda Durick,
Yes.
Maria Piscopo,
Yes.
Robert Lyons,
Yes.
Judith Easton,
Yes.
Matt Moretti,
Yes.
Ruben Robles.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we'll move on to the second action item, which is the market benchmarking and compensation structure. So I make a motion to approve the revised pay grade structure included in the market benchmarking report as presented to take effect on May 1st, 2022. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Ruben. Discussion. So Mary, this is taking into account the changes that we have to make, right, to get to what we need for minimum wage.
Right, it's addressing minimum wage. That's caused the compression that took us from 17 pay grades down to 15. And based on the salary survey data that they use to compile these, it makes us competitive in the Chicago area for libraries, for librarian positions, and they used a higher percentage of general labor market salary data for positions that aren't exclusive to libraries, like our IT positions and our maintenance positions. Since those employees could go work at an employer outside the library field, we want to still pay competitively.
Yeah.
So it does mean that most of our employees are at the lower end of their ranges, or will be when this takes effect in May. And given the amount of turnover and the number of newer, less experienced employees we have, in many cases, that's okay. But for some of our more experienced staff, we're going to have to work in the next couple of years to try to bring them closer to the midpoint, which is where we would want them to be. I don't think we can be generous enough to make that leap in 1 year. It'll be a tricky budget to make that happen. But as I mentioned in the board packet, the other thing we're looking at is the consumer price index and just the increase in cost of living. I've also learned since I put the board packet together that there are also IMRF implications that need to be considered. We can't give increases greater than 6% to employees who will be retiring or eligible to retire within the next 10 years, or there are some cost implications associated with that based on legislation that was enacted to try to prevent people from pumping up pensions in the final years of, mostly for administrators, but it applies to anybody in IMRF. So I'm still in the very early stages of putting the budget together, but pay increases for staff are a big question mark for me right now. But this, what you're approving tonight, doesn't change anybody's rate of pay. It just gives us new ranges for each position, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions?
Good idea.
Yes, I know. I was going to say the same thing, Judith. I think the fact that we've retained staff too during this pandemic too, you know, they also followed through with the policies that we had to make sure to protect individuals at the workplace. So like, I think that, yes, I'm for this. I'm also when we discuss, you know, later about the budget, I definitely think, you know, that should be considered.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay, Donna, roll call.
Maria Sinclair,
Yes.
Linda Durk,
Yes.
Maria Episcopal,
Yes.
Robert Lyons,
Yes.
Judith Easton,
Yes.
Matt Moretti,
Yes.
Reuben Robles.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion passes. Next we'll move on to the third action item. So I make a motion to approve the vacation policy as presented, take effect on May 1st, 2022.
Second.
Second by Maria Episcopal. Discussion. So remind me, Mary, it's just the vacation is still similar, right? Or is the accrual different?
The accruals are the same for most staff. Currently, the people in the lowest pay grade of the organization we had 3 tiers, where shelving clerks started at 1 week of vacation. Most of the mid-level staff going up from shelving clerks started at 2 weeks, and then librarians and staff above that level and the highest pay grade started at 4 weeks. We're recommending 2 tiers instead of 3, sort of making it a little more equitable. And then the other change in the table was just taking out some of the math, because employees don't really need that calculation. Our payroll system does it for them. If somebody really wants the math, I can provide that for them, or Donna can. But it caused confusion for employees in trying to read our policy and make sense. So it just, after looking at a lot of other library policies, I realized nobody else is giving them the decimal point calculation per payroll in terms of how it's accrued. So we tried to simplify it.
I appreciate the new revised policy. It's a lot. I know as an employee reading the other one, this is more understandable, user friendly. As far as I think having to do the math and realizing how much time you actually, like you get, and for some
Right.
for some reason that's
0.289 hours.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments or discussion? No. Donna, roll call.
Maria Sincool,
Yes.
Linda Durk,
Yes.
Maria Episcopal,
Yes.
Robert Lyons,
Yes.
Judith Easton,
Yes.
Matt Moretti,
Yes.
Reuben Robles.
Yes.
Great. Motion passes. Next, we'll move on to our fourth action item, which is library staffing service. So I make a motion to authorize a director to open the library on Friday, February 18th for all or part of the day if it is deemed prudent to cancel or scale back the staff in service for the plan for that day. Can I get a second?
Second.
A second by Ruben Robles. So Mary, this is just giving you the flexibility to be able to, in case you have to cancel related to
Right.
COVID.
Since you had formally approved closing on that day, just in case we decide we can't safely do in-service, I thought I probably needed your green light to be open that day, because it wouldn't make sense to be closed if we're not doing in-service. I really hope we can still do it. I know staff are excited about it, and it's been a while since we've been able to come together. When we started planning early last fall, we thought surely by February we'll be in good shape. But now we're not sure. We're looking at ways we can try to adapt our plans to have more simultaneous sessions, so fewer people in each room at a time, and hopefully we can find a way to make it work. I think we probably won't serve breakfast because there isn't a way to safely do that. We can still provide lunch and just encourage people to go to their separate corners within the building during lunch and not all eat together in close proximity. So I hope we can make it work. And I will certainly let all of you know as soon as we make a decision. We'll have to do it probably at least a couple weeks ahead of time, just to let our presenters know what we're planning. So we'll have plenty of time also to communicate to the public what our plans are for that day. But right now, I just don't know where we'll be.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any other comments? Donna, roll call?
Marie Sincool,
Yes.
Linda Durick,
Yes.
Maria Episcopal,
Yes.
Robert Lyons,
Yes.
Judith Easton,
Yes.
Matt Moretti,
Yes.
Ruben Robles.
Yes.
Motion passes. So the next item is our last item on our new business. It's actually a discussion item. So it's related to our holiday decorations. Thank you, Linda, for suggesting put it on. That comment from the public definitely sounded like we're a couple people in our community that have been vocal about this. I just would have very much appreciated that someone would have
I think
shared that
Carol-
information with Mary.
I think that Carol has always been very involved with the Friends of the Library. And I just want the board to maybe think about, and Mary, think about what other possible solutions there could be to this. And maybe the Friends could be a little bit more involved. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Mhm.
My box isn't turning yellow when I speak.
Oh,
Oh,
I can barely hear her, so.
You can't?
There we go.
yeah.
Okay.
Gotta get closer to the microphone.
Okay, so Carol has always been very involved in the Friends, and I just thought that there were quite a few people that contacted her regarding this issue, and I just think that maybe we should just give it some more thought. We still have quite a few months before any decision is to be made, but maybe we can think of some, and I don't know how involved the board wants to get in this, other than to maybe say, could we involve the Friends more, or could the staff maybe give a little more attention to this before Christmas comes around next year?
Yeah, we can certainly go back to the window painting and the snowflakes and things we've done. The Christmas tree in the lobby, we stopped doing after the last renovation when our lobby got really narrow. And we used to have one in the second floor on the quiet reading room. When it was in the room with the fireplace, it was a nice room to put a Christmas tree in, but then that became a classroom, a program room. And the new quiet reading room was that smaller triangle, and it didn't work as well in there. So it's been several years since we've had a decorated Christmas tree as we've had now, and it just didn't work with the traffic flow through the building. But we can certainly look at seasonal decorations and making more of an effort to make things more festive.
I think that, because we haven't had that in years past, and this year she got, this person and other people got super upset. I think that's just a sign of the times. I think people are so frustrated now. They're
Right.
so angry now.
We did do the window painting though, and we didn't do that this year, and that's on me. I just dropped the ball in finding someone who could do
There were
it.
lots of things going on, so that's
Right,
I don't know if it's that so much as the fact that there was nothing.
right.
So, and I think that's what, because really, honestly, everything is so decorated. And again, it doesn't have to be Christmas necessarily, because I understand that we don't want to make anyone feel, oh no, here's a holiday that I don't celebrate, because it is a holiday no matter what. But also the fact that, and she brought up a couple times that the Friends of the Library purchased the snowflakes. So I think that was maybe where some frustration was.
Right.
That
Right.
why are we purchasing things if it's not being used?
Right.
Like,
It wasn't something they purchased, just to clarify, but they did
Oh, I'm
pay for
sorry.
the artist that we hired. That
Oh, okay. I think I was a little confused. I was thinking like
Yeah.
snowflakes. But what could be something kind of fun is in the children's department having where, have you seen where they make those giant snowflakes and hang them? You just get like large pieces of paper, and it's, it'll help the kids with their cutting skills, their fine motor skills, and then they can make these really big snowflakes that could hang all over the library. So that way we are decorating. It's also the kids are seeing their things. And if we do like a bunch of winter themes, I think that would be really cool.
One of the problems we have with hanging things is the motion detector in our alarm system.
Yeah.
Tried that before and end up tripping an alarm in the middle of the night.
Okay, then maybe.
But we
not
could
so
find
much-
a way to hang them on
Yeah,
walls.
maybe if it was
or-
more like on the sides where it's not so much, or even just putting them up. And I love about decorating the windows and stuff, but I mean, I love things being decorated.
Oh, trust me, as somebody
I'm
who
really
arrives,
upset, and I think people this year needed some kind of happiness per se.
when I arrive at this building in the morning and it's dark in the winter, and when I leave at night, nothing makes me happier than seeing the village lights. They're
Right,
beautiful,
right.
and it's
And-
just
and
they
it
are
does make you
beautiful.
happy.
And they are,
Yeah.
but we could like maybe greenery isn't necessarily, I think there's lots of things that we could come up with to make things happy, because it is dark, it's dreary, and people want some kind of, and then having the friends come and help put things up. So it's not a burden on staff or anyone. I mean, I'd be happy to come help put up some snowflakes.
Okay, thank you.
You're
How
welcome.
about getting the teens involved? How about?
Sure.
Oh, actually, that would be great for them to do the giant snowflakes. There's like a
Yeah.
way
Or
to make
just,
them
you know
like
what I mean? I think there's lots of
three-dimensional.
things that we can come up with.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll work on it.
Mhm. Maybe we should pencil this in for maybe the August meeting.
Correct,
To
I agree.
just have
So-
some further discussion then. And in the meantime, we've got a few months to think of some ideas, and that'll give us some lead time before the holidays. We probably won't want to have it up too much before Thanksgiving or, that
So
range.
this is part of, and I'm only going to play the devil's advocate here. This is, the board really was not involved in any of this decision making.
Closer to the mic, dear. Closer to the mic.
The board was really not involved in any of this decision making, and I just want us to think about how involved we want to be, because generally that is something that the library director and staff have always kind of
Yeah,
told. So,
Correct. So I agree with you, Linda. Like, I think it's great that we're discussing this as a discussion item because someone was concerned about it in our community, but I agree with you. I don't know that it should be something that we vote on. And it comes down to the nitty gritty stuff of what we
right,
decide.
I think the staff and Mary, whatever their discretion is,
yeah,
address
That's
this
right.
issue. I think that we should just, we've said our piece, and I think the board
Correct.
basically.
I'll definitely keep you updated and let you know what we're
Correct.
talking about.
Perfect.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I didn't mean to imply that we
Yeah,
had.
No, I know.
I
know
was
that-
just trying to come up with ideas, and I think it would be good for the teens and the kids to feel like this is their place. And then sometimes when you feel like something is your place, you treat it a little
Yeah, you
better.
have more pride.
That would help with noise level or things like that, because they have ownership as well.
Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you're right, Linda. This really is outside of our purview a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I thank you very much for discussing it, and I really wanted to bring it up just because it was brought to our attention. But from this point, I guess we'll just pass it along.
Yes, duly noted, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Linda. Don't want to see, is there any more discussion on this? But is there any more discussion before we move on to the rest of the agenda?
I said,
Okay, oh, you're good. It's okay. So we'll move on to closed session. It doesn't seem like Mary, right? We need to go into closed
No.
session. So we'll move on to correspondence and announcements. So are there any comments related to any of the information, library and the news, or other correspondence? I will say I like reading positive correspondence that we receive.
Yeah.
It's quite
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're great to hear. They're great to see when they talk about the services that we're providing.
We had a request to place a box in the lobby for people to put patron comment cards in because they didn't feel comfortable They wanted to be anonymous rather than filling out a comment card and handing it to a staff member, so the employee knew who wrote that. That made me think that people must have negative things to say, but all three of those are the first comments we received since we put the box in the lobby, and they were all positive. So
Yeah.
it was nice to see.
That's
Yeah.
great. And could we get an oh wait, was it, no, the scissor sharpener, right?
Yes, we are working on that.
Yeah,
Oh, yay. Okay, good.
Correct.
Karen Dini, our collection development coordinator, has talked with this patron and plans are in the works.
all right. Just don't run with them.
Correct.
You have to write a book.
One of our staff members also recently checked out the knife sharpener and she said it was wonderful. So if anybody needs to sharpen your knives, think of us. We've got you.
Okay.
Any other comments? No? So then, the best part of the meeting, just kidding. We'll move on to additional discussion. Just last minute reminders, like Mary, next week is the town hall. So if you're able to attend in person, great. If you're able to attend virtually, that's great too. Our next intergovernmental meeting is next month, and Mary will do a really good job of reminding us when that comes up. I don't know that there are any other reminders, right, Mary? Okay, any other discussion?
Actually, there is one. Do we want to have a finance committee next month to start looking at the preliminary budget? We often start that process in February. Some years we've started in March. I'm okay either way.
Yeah,
What do you think? Robert?
I'd sooner start earlier than later. Avoid any time crunches or anything. So probably February's good.
Okay, can we meet at 6 o'clock then prior to the 6:30 meeting?
Yeah, I
Yes.
can.
That would be February 22nd, correct?
15th,
Oh,
actually.
15th.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. And then all of the notices for the Open Meetings Act go out on that, for that meeting as well. Since
Correct.
they're likely to have a quorum of the trustees. Okay, good.
So make sure, that would be my, make sure you do your creating,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
because now you're able to have access to them, so please do those. I think, is the deadline, Mary, at the end of this month, or when is our deadline? I forget.
Technically, it was within 30 days of the election, and they're being pretty generous in allowing time for it now. But good job, Matt Moretti. He's got his done. He's already turned in his certificates.
Awesome. So make sure that you do that. Mary, you'll let us know if there's a tentative deadline.
Yep, I will look into that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was maybe like an hour to do everything. So
Yes, it does take some time.
a lot of reading.
If it hasn't changed, they don't let you get the wrong answer. If you answer wrong, you do it again until you.
They
pick
do
the right
not. They do not.
So you don't have to read. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes,
Probably
you
should have made it easier on yourself, but
do. Yeah, correct.
There you go.
All right.
So fantastic, everyone. So then, being as there's no more additional discussion, I'll make a motion to adjourn our library board meeting.
Second.
Second by Piscopo. Adjourned at 8:08 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Do I
Thank
need-
you, Maria.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
all right.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you.